Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Multi-Voice Entertainment. I'm the Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today I'm going to do something very different for you folks. You know, from the beginning, I wanted this to be like a crossover review with somebody I once knew from Wisconsin, but now that never going to happen. So, pretty much, I decided to do the review myself. And the review I'm going to talk for you today is a certain movie, and it's called Zathura. Now, a little known fact, a lot of people used to say that Zathura is like a sequel to Jumanji. You know the movie. Yo, legendary Robert Williams. Oh, hey, how you doing? I don't know. Oh, Shashbot. uh, that Robert Williams, he is a living legend. Well, Godspeed, Robert Williams. We're all gonna miss you. But anyway, now here's one thing is kind of interesting. Zathura is actually based from a children's book written by Chris von Allsburg. And believe it or not, Jumanji was also based by one of his children's books. So believe it or not, Zathura and Jumanji are based by children's book by the same author. But of course, if you want to know how the story goes in the movie, well, here we go. First, it starts out, we have the dad, played by Ken Robbins. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say something negative about him because he's a really good actor. He does pretty good job acting in most movies that he appeared in. But when it comes to political stuff, he just needs to shut the hell up. Okay? He just needs to shut up! And it's up to here with his stupidity on what he complains about. I mean, if I have to listen to him, bitch, don't be surprised if I find him and beat him to death with my shoe. But anyway, back to the story, shall we? He's supposed to be divorced, hardworking, single dad who's supposed to take care of his kids. And of course, the kids that he has is, of course, Walter, played by Josh Hutcherson. And of course, his youngest son, Danny, played by Jonah Boo Boo. What kind of a name is Johnny Boo Boo? And he also has a daughter, played by Kristen Stewart. Yeah, that's right. The same Kristen Stewart. I mean, this is what she did before she started in those Twilight series. And of course, her character is called Lisa. Every time I hear the name Lisa, it just makes me think of this one character. Ba ba bum ba da bum bum ba 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 bum. Oh, ay caramba! Eat my shorts. But anyway, now Kristen Stewart. This time she does act better in this one, unlike what she did in the Twilight series, where she keeps acting like a damn motionless robot. I mean, what is up with that? I mean, she does pretty good acting performance in most movies that she starred in, but when she did the Twilight, what the hell? I mean, she's like bland. Completely bland. Hell, I mean, in the Twilight series, Alice Collins was a better interesting character than Bella. But anyway, she's being a typical teenager who doesn't want to get involved between the two and has her own world to deal with. She'd rather visit one of her friends' place and meet some cute-looking guy. You know, typical teenage crap. like most teenage girls act. And of course, the movie was made back in 2005. That's interesting. That's the same year I graduated from high school. But anyway, Danny and Walter, their relationship is more of a sibling rivalry. I mean, Danny, even though he has a brother named Walter, he's still all alone because he has nobody to play with. And Walter, on the other hand, he's arrogant, self-centered, and wants to be a center of attention. And wants nothing to do with his little brother. I mean, he would rather play with his dad or watch whatever he want to watch on television. And he always talks down to him, calling him a cheater or baby. And he also kind of blames Daddy over the divorce between his mother and dad, which we never see his mom. But of course, sadly, the dad has to go somewhere, some kind of an emergency on his work. So he wants Lisa to stay at home and keep an eye on her brothers. But she's like, "Oh, Dad," but she's like, "No buts. Stay at home and take care of them." And of course, as usual, she said, "I'm gonna go upstairs and get some sleep. So you two better not make any trouble." And of course, as usual, Walter just sits there and watches television while Danny asks him to play with him, and he's like, "No, I don't want to play with you." And of course, he said something mean to him, and it made Danny want to throw a ball right in his face. And he gets mad at him, and even though he keeps repeating, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," you know, it kind of reminds me of the sibling rivalry I got between me and my brother. Of course, I don't want to mess with him anymore, because I'm really happy that he's happily married, and I got along with my brother-in-law. But anyway, this time, Walter trapped Danny in a dumbwaiter and put him in the basement. And while Danny was in the basement, that's when he found the board game of Zathura. And he asked Walter, can he play with him? And he's like, "No, it looks old and boring." So he starts playing it, and he found a card, and he couldn't read some of the words, so he asked Walter what to say, and he says, "There's a meteor shower coming." And then all of a sudden, bam, their entire house is covered with meteor, just a bunch of fallen rocks just inside the house. So they hid in the basement. I mean, not in the basement, in the chimney. I know, some of you people will pronounce me on the chimney. I always call it chimney. I don't know why I call it chimney. Some of you might pronounce it to me saying it chimley or chimney or however it's going to pronounce. I just call it the way I call it, chimney. I have a hard time trying to pronounce chimney. But anyway, Lisa just fell asleep, not knowing what's going on. And even when they try to tell her about it, she just ignores them. And then all of a sudden, they said that some of the place is going to be frozen. And then all of a sudden, they discovered that their sister, Lisa, went to the bathroom to take a shower. And now the whole bathroom is frozen. So now, she's froze stiff. Maybe that's the reason why she acts like a mannequin on Twilight, because she was frozen. Makes a lot of sense to me. And then all of a sudden, they found another card, and it says, "Your robot is defective." And there was a little old-fashioned robot showed up. And then all of a sudden, Walter says, "Give me something to drink, biatch." That's the way of telling it. Biatch. Until the robot starts growing bigger and it starts attacking him because, like it said in the card, he is defective. So they try to survive from that android. And from out of nowhere, out comes the astronaut, played by Dax Shepard. Which I gotta say, Dax Shepard is a really great actor. I mean, I've seen him in Without a Paddle and among other stuff that he done. And congratulations on him marrying Christine Bell. He's a very lucky guy to end up with a girl like her. I mean, what? You ever seen her on Veronica Mars? But anyway, he shows up in the house and he starts telling him, oh yeah, and another thing, one of the cards showed up and they said the Zorgons are coming, and the Zorgons are these lizard creatures. And of course, Walter says, maybe they're very friendly. Yeah, if the Zorgons are friendly, then I'm inviting the Daleks for tea. I'm sure that would go well. But you know, what is it with science fiction and lizard-like aliens? I mean, on Zathura we got the Zorgons, and hell, Star Trek we has the Gorn, and Star Wars we had the Bosk. So what is up with lizard-like characters in the science fiction franchise? Hmm? I'm surprised that in Guardians of the Galaxy I haven't spotted any lizard characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know how I feel about that. I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, well, in my heart. Well, yeah, Doctor Who does have lizard-like aliens, which is of course Silurians, but they look nothing like either the Gorn or the Bosk or the Zorgons. You know, one of these days, I think my doctor should get involved with the Silurians one of these days. I mean, I'm still working on a script where my doctor ends up in New York and the Silurians are invading, and I meet a Pulp Fiction character called the Shadow, which which I probably mentioned a couple of times. But anyway, the astronaut told them that they are only attracted to heat, so he's shutting off everything that makes heat. And they set a couch on fire and toss it out into space so the Zorgons could go after it. And of course, Lisa, their sister, finally got out of her cryo and wanted to know what the hell's going on. And she just turned on the heat all of a sudden and about ready to take a shower. And then all of a sudden, one of the Zorgons saw her and she screamed, but the astronaut saved her. And of course, light beaming on the eye lines, and all of a sudden she starts falling for the astronaut. Anybody who saw the movie besides me know exactly what's going to happen. Well, if any of you ever seen this movie, I mean, I laughed so hard I thought I was suffocating. I mean, it was that shocking and hilarious at the same time. I mean, I just couldn't catch a breath every time I laughed so hard when the rest of the movie was like. But anyway, back to the thing. All of a sudden, Lisa's going like she has the bluest eyes I ever seen, and she says she feels so safe being with him. Man, that's like every single cliche movie. I mean, every time when you have a character who's like the hero and the girl automatically falls for him because they feel so safe being with the hero. Yeah, well, I guess none of you have never seen the movie Feast. That horror comedy with these big monster guys. And this one guy tried to act like a hero, and they said, "Who the hell you think you are?" And he said, "I'm here to save your ass." And then the monster starts attacking him through the window. I should review that movie one of these days. Maybe that will be next on my multi-voice wing. But anyway, turns out that they need to get the board game in order to get rid of the Zorgons. But it turns out they grabbed the board game So now Danny has to sneak in and try to get the board game before they start putting it in the furnace, and they can never get back home. And of course, Danny stumbled across a bunch of sheep that has like a billion eyes like a spider. Well, actually, goats to be precise. And then he finally got the board game. And then the stupid bickering, the senseless bickering between the two. I mean, Walter just moved one of his players, and now it says, you're caught cheating, and they almost took him away from the house, but the astronaut saved his life. And then the senseless bickering going on and on and on, and the astronaut was like, he knew exactly what's going to happen, because now they got a gold card telling him that a meteorite, that a shooting star is going to pass by, and he's going to make a wish. And even though the astronaut is like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. And Walter made a wish. And the astronaut starts walking around the house going like, Danny? Danny! Danny, where are you? And then Danny was hiding under the bed. For a moment, the astronaut thought that Walter's going to wish the star to wish that his brother Danny was never be born. And of course, it turns out he wishes for an autographed football. An autographed football? Seriously? And even I agree with Danny on this one. He should have wished this whole thing to go away and they never played the game. But he didn't thought of that. They put him under the pressure. And Walter did thought about it, but the astronaut told him, don't ever wish it ever again. Because he said that long time ago he did have a brother. And he did play the game. But when the shooting star passed by, he did wish his brother was never been born. And he was so alone. He didn't know what to do. So, after this whole fiasco, all of a sudden, Danny showed up. I mean, Danny just finished the game, and the card popped up saying, congratulations, you get another shooting star. And the shooting star shows up, and he made a wish. Turns out that he wished that his astronaut's brother should be born. And it turns out that the astronaut's brother was Danny. So it turns out the astronaut was Walter all along. What a twist! I mean, the movie just M. Night Shyamalan my ass. Oh, man. And Lisa was like, oh my god, I had the hots for my brother. Oh, damn. But, anyway, they finally went back home, and somehow it just rewind time, and they finally went back the way they began before they started playing the game, and Walter is like, Danny, don't press the button. And now they started to realize that it's better to have a brother than being alone. So now, Walter and Danny starts playing ball with each other, and they started getting along like brothers should. You know, brotherly love. And when the father showed up, he was surprised to see Walter and Danny getting along now. And when the school bus showed up, Lisa was like, don't tell anybody what we experienced, okay? And Walter said, so you thought I had the bluest eyes you ever saw, huh? Damn. Oh, man. To me, I say Zathura was a pretty good movie. They did a pretty good job. I mean, there's a little hiccups here and there. I mean, I would have complained about it, but it just raises too many questions. I mean, like, why is the astronaut turn out to be Walter? What happened to Lisa after he wishes his brother was never been born? How did he end up as an astronaut? But it just raises too many questions. I mean, it should have some. I mean, it's a science fiction movie, so it had some sort of science explanation involved. But who knows? Now, the movie itself was really good, and during the time when Jumanji was made, they made the board game of Jumanji, and Zathura. They did had a board game of Zathura at the time, but it was during the time when I had a PS2 at the time, so I ignored the board game, but instead got a PlayStation 2 video game of it. I'm more of a PlayStation guy, not an Xbox guy. I didn't get into the Xbox. I was more into the PlayStation when the first game came out. And the the video game, I mean, the special effects and the design is sort of in a PlayStation 2 level. I mean, it's good, but not all that great. And it's kind of boring here and there, but all in all, it is a good game. It's just too bad they didn't do the whole. I mean, the astronaut is in the video game, except they didn't explain that the astronaut was Walter. So pretty much, it's a little bit close to the movie, but they left out the sister, Lisa, and left out the origin of the astronaut. So that's the only difference between the video game and the movie. Well, that's the end of my review of Zathura to the day. So if any of you enjoyed this review of Zathura, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more. And I'm working on another Doctor Who episode. It's called Hannah Must Resist the Cybermen. This one is going to be an interesting story because Hannah, I mean, she was a former Cyberman, but now she's my cyber companion. And the Cyberman is trying to get her back, but I start trying to remind her who she is. Anyway, I'm the multi-voice reviewer. I remember so I can jog your memory, so later.